Okay, I think we can start. Dear colleagues, students, and friends, I'm very happy to welcome you to the first series of what we call GGG Short Courses. And the most appropriate domain to start exploring is the well-being of our students. This is also very important for us as educators to take good care of the personal life and also the student life of everybody in our institutions within the GGG framework. And I think this is an excellent start of many more GGG short courses that will follow. Definitely, we need to do something more for the well-being, not just as an institution, but also as people that we are working close with young people every day. And all of us, or most of us, we have also families with kids. So this is also something very, very important to tackle. I would like to thank Dr. Susma for preparing an excellent webinar on this very sensitive topic. And I'm sure that she has a lot to say, and with all of you, a lot of things to explore, things to discuss. Maybe you have queries, but don't forget the essence of this course is to try and provide a helping hand in also some personal situations that we all face. So Dr. Susma is dealing with psychology courses in BSBI and has great experience on this kind of scientific domains. So Dr. Nilufar, you can introduce Dr. Susma as well, and our colleague can start. Thank you so much for all the support.
Thank you, Professor Kyriakos. I would like to leave the stage for Dr. Sushma, who is expert in this field, well-being and mental health. She had a very successful initiative at BSBI, a series of events that we had last year, and it is the expertise that she can share with us today. Dr. Sushma, the stage is yours, please. You are not audible. Dr. Sushma, sorry, you are not audible. Would you please check your connection? Whether you are connected to the mic or headset, we cannot hear you. Orly? Dr. Sushma, are you in the room 305? Okay. Orly will come to assist. 305. Sorry, because of this technical issue, we need to wait a little bit, but this session will be in a way that it is not only a course, and Dr. Sushma will ask you to join in a series of very interesting activities during this course, and it is not the first one. In these GGG short courses, we will have different topics that will be related to other fields of study as well. But since this mental health and well-being is a wide topic that can be discussed in all fields of study, Professor Kyriakos, who designed and led this initiative, decided to start with this topic. that is a general topic, I can say, and it is a very important topic that is suitable for all students at BSBI or at other GGG institutions.
Can you hear me, Dr. Nilafar?
Yes, now you're audible. The stage is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. So before we proceed with the presentation, the course, I would just like to ask the participants and everyone if they can see the screen, if they can see me, if they can see the presentation as well, and if they can hear me well.
Yes, it is. All is okay. Now you can start.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you. Thank you for joining today's session, and thank you so much to the organizers for giving me the opportunity to facilitate the short course on mental health and well-being. Firstly, thank you so much to the audience, to the students. I'm really glad you're here, not just because this is an important topic, not just because we are talking about mental health, but because attending a session like this is already a sign of awareness. You want to know more about yourself. You want to understand more about your mental health and your well being. So we can say that the space is for a very relaxed and reflective conversation. What we will be doing today is completely non judgmental. We are not here to label anyone or tag anyone or diagnose anything per se. We are not here to talk about what's wrong. We are here to understand and explore skills that support our everyday emotional, physical relationship and our everyday life. So I will not be lecturing you here for 4 hours. The session will be more practical, it will be more interactive with very small activities, which will help you reflect, which will help you in understanding about yourself. And we will have conversations that will help us, me, as well as you, to connect to the concepts of our own experiences, to what we feel about ourselves, to what our self image and our self identity is. In trying to do that, we will talk a lot about self awareness. We will talk a lot about what is, in general, how self disclosure, what is connectivity, what is mental health in general. So, if I have to describe why we are here today, it's because we are talking about mental health. Being studying psychology for almost 2.5 decades, I have realized that there is no end to knowing yourself, right? You keep on exploring your new potential, you keep on discovering new strengths, you leave some part of yourself and you build some in this process. Now, when we talk about mental health is not about dealing only with problems or challenges. It is also about how we think, how we feel, and how we connect with others, with our loved ones, and with our social, relationships. How we handle stress, how resilient we are, how much we can bounce back after something which has gone wrong with us, right? After something which we did not were not very able to take it up. So it influences not just us, but it influences a lot of other behaviors that is associated with us. It influences our studies. It influences our relationship with our parents, our caregivers, our children, and our loved ones, right? Our motivation to do certain things, and even our physical health. When I was doing my PhD in cognitive psychology, it took me around 5.5 years to finish my PhD. When I joined the university, when I wanted to finish it, I had this target that I will finish my PhD in 3 years and I will be done by it. But it didn't, the God has different plans, right? So it did not work accordingly. My experiments kept on being rejected. I was working on emotions and I was working on memory and, very neurological facets of emotions. It took a long time. But when I started accepting the fact that this is a journey, it will not go by how exactly I have planned. There might be ups and downs, and I have to make the most out of this journey. And then when I accepted this fact, I started getting more opportunities. I started connecting and collaborating internationally. I started presenting my work internationally, and my self disclosure, my self awareness, and my mental health started growing. So today isn't about perfection. It is more about understanding your emotions, your patterns, which are the few habits that you think you cannot get rid of, which are the few habits that you think you can change, your boundaries, where do you think that, I cannot go beyond that, and the small habits that create balance. So before we begin, let's get it very clear. The aim of today's topic, or the aim of today's course is very simple. We will generally be talking about what well-being really means, um, how self-awareness helps us in giving us a mental stability, how emotions, stress, resilience, bouncing back in work and in education is important. Not all emotions are negative, right? It's a part of us. How relationships and empathy shape your mental space, and how to build your personal well being plan, which will help you in growing, not just internally, but also in real life. Also, when you can accept those. So, this is the course overview. We will be introducing the concept of well being, self awareness, how to increase your energy and quality of life, what are the things that you can do to understand the open areas of your personality, understanding the psychology of connection through attachment theory, what is the importance of childhood connection, what is the importance of attachment during those periods, building resilience, creating a personal well-being plan is what we target. Now, when we talk about personal well being or well being in general, or what exactly is self awareness, we can say that well being is nothing but how we feel, how we feel about ourselves. So it means that it's not one single thing, it's a multi-dimensional concept, which means that well-being is not just emotional well-being and not just physical well-being. Well-being is emotional, well-being is physical, well-being is psychological, and well-being is also social. By physical well-being, I mean that your body energy level, you feel, you can feel how you feel about your body. You have proper sleep, you have proper nutrition, you move well, depending on how you feel. Emotional well being, on the other hand, is your ability to recognize your emotions. Not just recognize your emotions, but also manage your emotions to some extent. And not just recognize your emotions, but also recognizing others' emotions and managing others' emotions. Psychological well being means how you feel about your mindset, about what you see when you see yourself in the in the mirror, right? Your sense of purpose, and how do you deal with challenges. Whereas social well-being is about the relationship with people, how much you connect, whether you're able to support people in and around you, whether you feel that you're understood by people in and around you. So all these dimensions influence one another. When one area is off balance, it also affects everything else. For example, if you are emotionally overwhelmed, you may sleep less. Your hunger also gets affected. You also feel disconnected with people. You start losing motivation. Okay. And the opposite is also true. When you feel good about yourself, when you take care of certain area, it lifts up the other area, right? You start feeling good about yourself. You start feeling good about the social connection, about the people around you. So it is something, all these dimensions influence one another. Now, the another important part of well-being is the balance between personal growth and emotional growth. It's very important that These two are, these two go hand in hand. So well-being will happen when both are present, when there is personal growth as well as an emotional stability, right? When you are growing, but also stable. When you challenge yourself, but you also take care of yourself. And that is why self awareness is so important. Because if you don't understand what's happening inside you, if you don't understand your own, likes and dislikes and emotions, your own emotional, physical, and mental health, you will not be able to give due attention to that area, right? So today we are talking about what self awareness is and how we can create some balance between these models of self awareness. Now, the first model that we will be talking about is the PERMA model. I'm not sure if you have heard about this, but this was the first model which talked a lot about the positive things in people. You know, when we talk about mental health, the first thing that comes in our mind is whether we are feeling sad, whether we have some negative emotions in ourselves, whether we feel depressed about something, whether, there are people who do not accept me as it is. The model of well being here, the PERMA model, was given by Martin Seligman. And this model talked about positive health, it talked about positive psychology. So let me tell you a short story about Martin Seligman. He was the first person who spoke about positive psychology, about this PERMA model. And the story goes like this: that years ago, when Seligman had a very life changing moment, and it did not happen in a lab, or it did not happen in the university when he was doing research, but it happened in a garden, in his garden, when he was there spending time with his 6-year-old daughter named Nikki. So one afternoon, when Seligman was outside pulling the weeds from the garden, he was lost in thought. He was very stressed about something that he was working on. He was very irritated and he was feeling very overwhelmed, like how we generally feel when we are overwhelmed. His daughter Nikki, she was running around playing like the child of her age, and she was being very loud and very playful. Seligman, who was very irritated and overwhelmed during that time, he yelled at her, and she became very quiet. She, after a moment, she realized that I should tell this to my father, and she came and she said something that completely transformed him. She said that, "Father, ever since I have turned 5 years, I have stopped winning about anything. Right? Can you stop being so grumpy?" So Seligman was very stunned, coming from a six, coming this from this coming from a 6-year-old. He later described this moment as one of, as a mirror being held up to him, and he realizing that what was wrong with him. Right? He realized that as adults, we often try to correct, we often try to polish the imperfections in children, but sometimes, they end up correcting ours as well. And that small interaction led him to reflect deeply. Psychology again had spent decades facing uh, or focusing mainly on what is wrong with people like depression, anxiety, and trauma. But very little time is spent by studying what exactly is right. What can they, enjoy in the moment. So this experience with Seligman's daughter in his life gave him a shift to the entire field, from focusing only on fixing weaknesses to studying what makes life worth living. How can you students use this PERMA model? So if, as you can see in the picture, PERMA stands for certain attributes of your personality. P means positive emotions. How you can use positive emotions by creating, maybe noticing some good things each day, spending time with the hobbies that you enjoy. You can practice more kindness. This will help reducing your anxiety. It will help you in improving your resilience, and it will also increase motivation. Motivation, not generally in studies, but motivation also to build connection. The second Abbreviation E, which is engagement, which means you need to find your flow. Okay. So you need to use your strengths daily. So what are your strengths? You need to do activities that you enjoy, activities that challenge you, activities that is that you like being in, right? This will help you in enhancing focus. Your productivity will increase, and you will also start feeling very satisfied, right? The third abbreviation R is for relationship, which means you have to also understand that spending time with people, spending time with friends or family is important. You have to practice active listening. Sometimes we keep up opening up our up just information of ourselves, talking about ourselves, but we are not very open to getting feedback or listening to what people have to say about us. So this active listening has to be practiced. We need to join some group and communities, express appreciation to others. So this will help us in building a very strong relationship, and it will improve our emotional health and will provide more stability. M, which is meaning. So now you have to reflect on what matters to you. Engage in activities that help you in understanding yourself, giving a purpose to your life. And at the end, it's accomplishment or achievement. So celebrating progress. You have to set up realistic goals, break the tasks into smaller steps, try to track whether you were able to achieve those smaller tasks in the due time. And you have to learn to celebrate small success. You know, when I teach here in my class, when I'm teaching my psychology students or the management students, cross cultural management students, we always try once in a month, we always try up to build this open conversation wherein we discuss about the small achievements, to make us realize how to enjoy that, how to celebrate these small success. It helps us in building confidence. It helps us creating discipline and a sense of competence as well. So now this whole model, if you will see, helps us in shifting the focus from what is wrong with me to what makes me thrive, to what makes me sustain. Similarly, there were many other models which were given in to understand well-being. Riff's model was another one. There was also subjective versus objective well-being model. When we can say that the PERMA model, which focuses more on emotions and experiences, um, Riff's model was more about psychological resilience and internal strength. How much are you able to grow in the positive relationship? Are you able to find purpose in life? Are you able to accept yourself the way you are? So these were some models which will help you. Slowly, when we will be progressing and understanding how we can deploy these models, how we can actually inculcate these practices in our day-to-day life, it will help you more in understanding the well-being. Okay. Here is a small form if you want to understand how do you feel about yourself. It's a self-assessment exercise. It's a questionnaire, and it will help you in reflecting, where am I now? You can try opening this form, or you can also copy and paste it in your in your browser and try to fill in. There are very few questions. It's just 5, 6 questions which you have to try to fill in, and it helps you in assessing your well-being. So I'll give you 3 to 4 minutes. You can try to put in the um, form in your browser. I have also put the form in the chat box if you want to have the direct access. Do not overthink about any answer. If you, whatever comes to your mind first, just try to put in that response. These responses are confidential. You can see that there are no names required. Okay. So I hope you were able to figure out to some extent as to what these questions are trying to assess, right? Whether it is something about myself, about my emotions in general, what is the purpose of life? One question which really intrigued me, I think the question where it says, what gives your life a sense of purpose? Would you like to write a word, maybe in the chat box, and tell me, not necessarily about describing it, but just maybe a word or a two. What do you think? What gives your life a sense of purpose? Very good. Hmm. Okay. So doing things for others, being emotionally available for others, family ties, helping others. So you can understand that when you talk about sense of self, when you understand about these important notions of, these important emotional attributes, the positives in small things, we also take care of our positive psychology, the positive mental well-being. Okay, so moving further, we talk about happiness. Now, there are definitely a lot of myths about happiness, how happiness should be. But we will also look at some of the key insights from positive psychology. So when we talk about positive psychology, we talk about what are the big moments to feel gratitude about. What is the behavior of appreciating a good conversation, a kind message, or even recognizing your own efforts today. So now, when one of the strongest findings in positive psychology is the power of gratitude, right? The gratitude will shift your focus from what's missing in your life to what's present right now. It doesn't change our circumstances. It will not take out from the current scenario from what we are or what we are facing, but it helps us to a great extent in changing how we interpret them. You don't need big moments to feel gratitude. It can be very simple, right? Maybe you had a very nice conversation with your parents, or you had a very nice conversation with your friends. Appreciating that good conversation, you are able to sleep peacefully, properly nudged in your comfortable bed, that comfortable room. Appreciating that kind message from someone, or even recognizing that you did your best today, right? So this daily gratitude practice has shown to improve your mood, it gives you a very sudden shift in understanding how you feel about the current situation. It helps you in improving your sleep. It helps you in building your resilience, having more emotional availability, and even your physical health, right? It also helps you in feeling better about yourself, taking care about yourself. Next is optimism. So optimism is not ignoring problems. You just don't say that, okay, fine, if even if there is a threat or even if there's something bad happening in your life, you will completely ignore and be completely shut about that problem. But optimism means approaching them with a belief that difficulties are very temporary. It's a part of your life. It's temporary and also manageable. An optimistic student will perform better academically. They will cope better with setbacks. They will also stay more motivated, throughout the course, throughout the program, and experience less stress. So what you can do is, one helpful mindset shift is asking yourself, what can I learn from this? If there has something which has not gone, according to your wish, so, what can I learn from this? That is what you can ask yourself, instead of why is this happening to me? Why was that person rude to me? Why every time it's me? So, this small shift builds emotional strength. This small shift in your perspective, in your mindset, will help you thrive through that particular situation. Now, mindfulness helps a lot in this. Mindfulness is a very important tool, and it helps you a lot in thriving. It helps you a lot in actually providing you that shift. It's a very important tool. Mindfulness, what is mindfulness? Mindfulness, means literally to be present in the current situation, not being trapped in yesterday's regrets or tomorrow's worries. So when you are mindful, you are there present in the current situation. Your focus is better, your stress decreases, and you also get more emotional clarity, and we are able to make better decisions in life. So, but at the same time, you do not need long meditation sessions. So, even 1 minute of conscious breathing can interrupt the stress and recenter you. Does it mean that always you will have to, kind of hide the emotions? Always you need to calm down? Always you need to be happy? No, right? Positive psychology or positive well being does not mean being happy all the time. It does not mean that happiness is something that we enjoy at every phase of our life. It's something, there are many myths as well. So I will be happy when you create certain, kind of tag with it, that I will be happy when this thing will be completed. So when I finish my degree, when I get a job, or when I start earning more, or when I get married, when I have children, I will be happy. So this mindset, so if you will shift happiness like this, and if you will shift happiness and attach it with some task, it will always push the happiness into the future, and it will make it a moving target. It will not be something which you will enjoy. You will not be able to enjoy something in the present, right? Happiness means being positive and happy all the time. No, no one feels happy all the time. This is not realistic and this is not healthy, right? So, well being includes sadness, well being also includes frustration, well being also includes you being stressful about something. The key is how we manage them, how we are able to get that balance. Many a times we think that other people have it so easily. Why am I the only one who always suffer, right? So this is always based on social media illusions. Everything is perfect in social media. Everyone struggles, right? Maybe we are not able to see it. We need to also understand that it's not like how the world looks in the social media. So the real insight is that happiness isn't something you wait for. It is something you build through very small, intentional habits, something you can be more consistent on, something that you start small and gradually build it as the habit starts building. Now, I'm not sure if you have heard about this very fascinating window, which is called the Johari window. It helps us in understanding our self. You know, what is our self awareness? Self awareness is something which is the heart of today's topic, right? It simply means understanding what's happening inside you, what you think, what you feel, and how you behave in a certain situation. It sounds very simple, but it takes, but it is one of the most powerful skill for mental well-being. How self-aware you are, whether you know about your emotions, whether you are able to manage your emotions or not. So most of us go through life reacting on autopilot, right? We feel something, we act in a certain way, and sometimes we do not know why, right? Sometimes we make decisions or take decisions in a haste, and then we regret. We feel that, okay, that was not something that I should have done. So now, being aware about these patterns, being aware and being able to control these patterns is what self awareness helps us to do. Self awareness allows us to pause, reflect, and respond intentionally instead of reacting emotionally. So, if I talk about this Johari window, it's a very interesting, it's something, it's a method of charting, or it's a method of plotting a visual representation of what you feel about yourself. So it was developed by Dr. Joseph Luft and Harry Ingram, and that's why it's called the Johari window. Now, what this Johari window talks about is that it talks about one's own thoughts, feelings, and behavior. So everyone, me, you, my friend, my family members, everyone has their own window. Okay, so we have this window, and now this window has everything about ourselves. Okay. Now, if you look at this diagram over here, if you look at this image, it looks like a window, just like any other window, right? So this whole window talks about four different dimensions. There are four panes in that window, and each pane talks about different dimensions. The first pane over here is called the open pane, arena, an open pane. So this is something that talks about things I know about myself and things that others know about myself as well. For example, if you have met someone for the first time, right? So you do not know much about the other person, and at the same time, the other person do not know much about me. So this particular pane will be very small because things I know about myself is clear, and things others know about myself is not clear because I have not told the other person about myself, right? So this is the first pane, which is the open pane, which means that things that others also know and things that I also know about myself. The next pane, which is called the blind pane. Here in this pane, it is the things that others know about myself, but I don't know about myself. For example, if your friend, maybe your friend does not know that you know something about that particular person, or your friend. You can say that maybe, you think that the person always asks a lot of question in the class and he's very talkative. This particular personality factor you might know about the other person, but that person might not know about themselves. So this is the blind pane, which means that things that others know about me, but I do not know about myself. How do we make the blind pain smaller? When we actively listen to others, when we listen, when we get the feedback from others and are able to incorporate them, right? So the more we listen to others, the more we get the feedback from others, the lesser the blind pain would be. The third pain, which is called the hidden pain or concealed pain or facade pain, this particular pain talks about things I know about myself, but others do not know about myself. Things that I want, maybe, I just do not want to express it. I do not feel comfortable in expressing those thoughts and feelings to others. So I want to conceal it. So this is something which deals with the hidden emotions, or the hidden emotions about myself. The fourth pane in the Johari window is about the unknown aspect. Now, what is the unknown pain? So it is something, there are some there are some attributes about myself which I do not know, and the others also do not know. Maybe something that might be there in the future. Maybe I do not know how I would react if there's something bad happens, or if my child gets into a trouble. So I do not know what will happen, or I do not know how I will be reacting, and others also do not know about me. So these are some unknown aspects of the window pane. So, when we talk about the Johari window model, it's helpful tool for understanding self-awareness. So the more you disclose yourself to others, the more you open the open area of the window, what I know about myself and what others know about myself, the more self-disclosure you do. The more self-disclosure you do, the better the relationship builds. Okay. And the better the trust is. So now everyone, all human beings, including me, you, your friends, your parents, we all have our own Johari window. Now you need to match or plot your Johari window with the others and see to what extent you know that person, whether the person is someone whom you can trust, whether the person is someone whom you conceal more information, whether there are person who always talks but does not listen, whether you always talk to that person but do not listen. So you have to keep on matching your personality attributes for your understanding of self-awareness. Self-awareness is very important, right? It's because it's a foundation in every form of personal growth. It gives you clarity, it gives you choice, it gives you control. So now, throughout today's session, many of the activities and reflections that we will be doing will be designed to help you open up that open area in the Johari window to understand more about who you are and how you function. Okay, any questions about the Johari window? What do you think? Which particular window pane would you design for yourself and with your close friend or someone whom you just met? Would you like to share something? Okay, the fakar is the mask we use to cope. Um, to some extent, yes, we use coping mechanisms to hide those, which are called the defense mechanisms, right? For example, if I mm, am angry at my boss because something really did not went well in the office, and I was not responsible for it, but I still had to take charge of it. But I cannot communicate this to my boss because this is something which I have to follow. It's something that I cannot openly communicate. So maybe I come back home and I am so angry about it that I start projecting that emotion on my children or someone more submissive, right? On anyone who would just listen to me, right? So this is also one of the hidden aspect of the emotions that we can mask or we can use to cope. However, if you use these masks for a very shorter duration, only for few, only for maybe few situations, it is still okay. It is still considered healthy. But if we start using these defense mechanisms at a very high rate, every time, whenever we are going through certain emotions, we try to mask those emotions and always try to project it or submissively, kind of project it on someone else. It creates a distorted personality. And that is where there is an imbalance in our personal and professional growth, in personal and internal and the outside growth as well. Very good question. Yes. Okay. So now, what are the benefits of self awareness? It gives you many benefits, right? We can say that it improves emotional regulation. Instead of reacting instantly, we learn to pause, we choose our responses. It strengthens relationship with people around us because we understand our own emotions, we communicate better and avoid any unnecessary conflict. And it also helps us in making more clearer decisions, right? Staying more resilient academically. Okay. So, how can you develop self awareness? You can develop self awareness. There are many tools, mindfulness exercises to stay present, journaling, understanding your patterns, your emotional patterns. Always ask for a feedback from someone. Always try to build this healthy relationship where you get feedback from others and try to change and inculcate those in your personality. It helps us in seeing ourselves from a very different perspective. Self awareness also has a important role in handling stress. Stress is something that we all face, right? I remember that, the way in which we deal with stress definitely changes over time, but you cannot say that you will be stress free at this particular age. Stress is a part of our life, and how we recognize and how we deal with stressors are something that we need to understand. So we need to understand and recognize these triggers. I want to share a very small but powerful story which I can remember right now. It happened with me in the class, and I really feel, it's something which is very emotional to me to share it to you all as well, with you all. So, a student once said to me, "I'm not stressed. We were having a class, and there was this exam which was coming up, and we were talking about how we need to prepare ourselves." And there was this close conversation I had with one of my students. And the student came to me and said that I'm not very stressed, but I'm just tired, you know. But the more we spoke, what's making you tired? What's happening? Are there any acculturative stress that you're facing? Any language or any other barrier that you're facing which makes you feel overwhelmed? So the more we started speaking, the more I could feel that it is something deeper. It's not just tired. She's not just tired. So I asked her one question: when did you first start feeling this way? She paused. She really paused for a very long time, and suddenly tears filled her eyes. It was a very emotional conversation then. She said, "I didn't realize it until now, but I have been carrying this feeling for months. I kept pushing it down because I didn't want it to be seem weak or not able to manage my emotions." And but in that moment, when she just let it go, in that moment, she understood that her stress wasn't about the deadlines or grades or exams. It was the weight she was trying to hold. You know, it was the weight that was holding her to express herself without, expressing her emotions. That was the weight, without ever stopping to check in with herself whether she's doing fine or not. And once she recognized that, everything changed. She started feeling lighter, not because her workload reduced, not because the exams and deadlines changed, everything remained the same. But she understood that she finally gave herself the permission to feel, to ask for help, right? That is the power of self awareness. When you are aware that, okay, I need someone to handle this situation with me. Sometimes the biggest relief comes from simply naming what we feel. Okay. So sometimes we should just make sure to have that confidant or someone to whom we can trust and also tell what exactly is happening within us. I have a small meditation exercise for you all. It's a mindful meditation it's a 5-minute meditation guide. We will do it together. Are you ready? Should we do it together? Let's see how, if you're feeling anything, maybe we can start with describing what we feel right now. You do not have to put it in the chat or tell me, but if you have a paper or if you can just bring that thought in your mind right now, how you're feeling, what is your present emotion in which you are sitting with me here. You can rate your emotions as well. If you do not want to name it, you can rate it from, in a scale of 1 to 10, to how much happy you feel or how much stressed you feel, or if you are overwhelmed, to how extent you are. So you can rate that. And then we do this mindful meditation exercise. I will just play it. Can someone just tell me if they can hear the audio from the video?
Not audible.
Is it audible?
No, it is not.
Okay. Just give me 1 minute. Can you hear it now?
No, please, when you share the screen, please
Link?
share also the sound. You need to press the button as well. Please stop sharing. But when you want to share this screen, you will be asked to share this, the sound as well.
Okay. No, I don't think so. Let me share it again.
If you want, send it to me, and I try to share it on my device. Okay.
Yeah. I have put it up in the chat box, Dr. Nelifo. No, Dr. Nelifo, we couldn't hear. Yeah, the technical difficulties are always a part of online conferencing and webinar.
Notice any place of tension or tightness in your body. Give those areas permission to relax.
Is it audible?
Sending love into those areas. Thank your body. Hey there, and thanks for gifting yourself these next few minutes. It's important to remember that you're a priority, and allowing yourself even just a few short minutes of intentional reflection can really have a positive impact on the rest of your day. So let's use these next few minutes to come back to center and set an intention for the rest of your day. Move into a comfortable position, whether you're seated at your desk at work or laying on the couch at home, and gently close your eyes and shift all of your attention onto your breathing, taking slower, deeper breaths than you've taken all day so far. Taking a deep breath in through your nose and slowly letting it out through your mouth. And continuing to breathe that way, feeling your lungs expand out as you inhale and contract back in as you exhale. Tune into your body, noticing how it feels. Noticing if there's anything that it's trying to tell you. Notice any place of tension or tightness in your body. And give those areas permission to relax, sending love into those areas. Thank your body for taking such good care of you, and let it know that it's okay to rest and relax for these next few minutes. You may notice that your mind starts to wander off. That's okay. That's natural. Just notice it and bring your attention back to your body, using your breath as your anchor. Try to picture one thing that's happened today that's made you smile, or made you thankful or appreciative. And just let that feeling fill you up for a moment. Breathe that feeling in from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. And allow yourself to smile if that feels natural. Now focus on something that you can do today, whether it's for yourself or for someone else, that will allow you to continue feeling this way. It could be something as small as deciding to go to bed early tonight, so that you have time to finally read that book that's been on your bedside table. Or the joy of getting dinner with a close friend. What's one little thing you can plan for your day to bring that intentional joy to it? Now just focus on that for a few minutes. Sit in that feeling of joy and peace. Now let's take a few more deep breaths together. A deep breath in, feeling your lungs expand out as you inhale, and everything contract back in as you exhale. Again, an even deeper breath than the one before it, holding that breath for a beat, and exhaling everything out. Last time, your deepest breath yet, sending that breath through your entire body. And exhale it out. And in your own time, slowly bring your awareness back to where you are. And thank yourself for taking these few minutes to just be intentional and kind to yourself. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes and enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay. You're muted. Sorry, Dr.
Yes. So, how do you feel? This was a very small mindfulness session, right? Which was designed to just being aware about your present emotion. A short mindfulness exercise where you just notice your breathing pattern, slowing down, making you more aware about the feeling in your body, about what you're thinking. It creates a lot of self awareness. Well, I would like you all to come back to the present, rub your palms, and just touch the eyes very gently with your palm. Okay, try to do this, and then give the warmth of your hands back to the eyes gently. That's the whole point of mindfulness. It creates space to notice your emotions, space of being pulled, instead of being pulled around by the responsibilities around you. It helps you in noticing your emotions to a great extent. You can practice many more mindfulness exercise as a daily practice. And at the same time, if you are interested in music, or if you're interested in any such ragas, which is a certain fragments of music, you can also try to listen to those ragas and follow the tune which goes up and down. So it also creates a lot of mindfulness exercise. Obviously, we can have a whole session on mindfulness and mindfulness exercise maybe next time. I would like you all to reflect. Did this help you in changing your focus of emotions? To some extent, were you able to come back and were you able to think about, or were you able to say that you are aware about your present emotions? If it did, then I would like you all to please take this habit of practicing mindfulness and meditations for better decision makings as well. Okay, moving to happiness and emotions, right? And that is when we talk about mindfulness, when you are in that space to notice your emotions, when you're not being pulled by the other responsibilities, as I mentioned, this particular situation brings us to the next topic, wherein we talk about understanding emotions and resilience. Mindfulness is one of the tools that helps us to see our emotional patterns clearly. But now, let's look more deeper at the emotions themselves. What do we feel? If I tell you that what are the emotions you felt when it started, and you have to note it down, or when you started the self awareness or mindful exercise. So, by understanding or by being aware about that emotions, how we can steady, how we can be, stable in life, even when the life feels very turbulent. So, what are emotions? Can you define emotions in general? It's very difficult, right? So, emotions comes with a lot of stress. Emotions comes with a lot of overwhelming feeling, irritation. There are a lot. It's a big term. So, it means being able to identify what you're feeling, not just the big emotions, but also the subtle ones. Now, when we talk about emotions, when we talk about self awareness and understanding the emotions within ourselves, we also need to understand how we can regulate those emotions. Once, when we know what we are feeling and how we are feeling, regulation becomes very easier, right? When you know that I am angry, or when you know that maybe dirty dishes in the sink makes me angry, you start working towards it. You start regulating your emotions so that next time you do not go through that same, anger again. So regulation doesn't mean controlling. Okay, regulation is not about putting a mask on that emotions or suppressing that emotions. Regulation means managing those emotions in a very healthy way. It could be just taking a pause, or it could be just a mindfulness exercise that we just did, right? It could be just grounding yourself. It could be just taking a break from social media. It could be changing your environment, or it could be just simply naming what we are feeling. If we are feeling irritated, we need to understand where does it come from. Is the irritation because I was not able to complete the presentation, or is the irritation because I did not get my morning coffee? So we need to understand the feeling from where it comes from. So naming an emotion will naturally reduce its intensity, and the brain will calm down, and it will start segregating from unwanted information to the wanted information. It will start channelizing in a way as to how it is, you will feel more understood. When your brain becomes calm, you start to understand the emotions around you easily. So that is how it helps you. So, recognizing emotions, understanding emotions when exactly you feel what way, understanding your highs and lows, being aware about your own, negative as well as positive emotions, understanding empathy, understanding perspective taking, understanding your, having that idea of taking feedback and active listening skills, and at the same time having some amount of self disclosure as well for open and better window frame that we just declared. Now, how can you regulate these emotions? Stress and emotions are very deeply connected. You cannot say that it is something you will always feel the same emotions in a particular state. They are very deeply connected, but at the same time very much having a different particular biological understanding. So stress is often the body's reaction to an emotion. Okay, we haven't fully processed those emotions, so it's a body's reaction to those emotions. When we avoid our feelings, stress starts building up. It's just like a volcano. So it keeps on the lava keeps on boiling, and once when you just do not, you feel that it's so much, it has filled me to the brim, you just blasts, right? So when we avoid that feeling, stress will build up. But when we acknowledge that feeling from the very bottom, the stress starts decreasing. The knots start opening up. So now let's talk a little bit about what happens inside the body. What is stress? Many a times, whenever we are talking with students nowadays, we have a lot of digestion issues from the students, which I get to hear. Now, why is it this happening? Why? So maybe there are biological aspects or physical aspects that we need to take care of, but to a large extent, it has developed from how we experience stress, how we regulate stress. So in our body, we have two nervous system, right? We have a central nervous system and a peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system generally is about how we take decisions in life, how we, manage big tasks in our life, how we think, how we memorize, for instance. Whereas the other nervous system, the peripheral nervous system, has different type of nervous system, which is regulated by how we involve ourselves in some situations. So there are two types, which is called the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is the stress accelerator. So it is about how your body acts during a stress response. You would have noticed that whenever you are stressed, for example, if you have to present something in the class, or there is an exam next day, or maybe you have to go to for your visa application, or maybe you have to kind of find a new house for yourself because the previous one did not work well. So these are all parts of stress. Now, you must have noticed that whenever you are in these situations, there are something that also shifts. Maybe your sleep cycle will shift. Maybe your eating habits also shift. So the sympathetic nervous system is at work during this time, because whatever energy is there accumulated in your body, now that energy is being transferred to the processing of managing the stress that you are going through, right? So the sympathetic system is our body's stress response. So it is that, it's just like a switch. Okay, so whenever we are in a stressful situation, the switch is plugged in, the switch is on. And in this system, that switch is on when we feel threatened. We feel that, oh, I don't know what will happen. What will happen if I do not get my visa renewal? What will happen if I do not get a new house? Where will I, new accommodation? What will happen if I do not do well in my grades? So these are fears, and your stress level gets switched on. You start feeling overwhelming or under pressure. So now your body starts preparing you for survival. Your heart beats faster, your breathing becomes shallow, your muscles become tense, and your mind becomes more alert, right? So this particular stage, or this particular mode, is generally called the fight, flight, freeze mode. Okay. So this response is helpful in short bursts. It helps us, keeps us very sharp. It helps us, keeps us safe as well. Now, so this particular system wherein your body is trying to, fill in those gaps where you are producing a lot of stress, when you are under a lot of stressful situations, and your body is working towards it to make sure the stressful situation is handled well. So that time, your sympathetic nervous system is under process. And when the sympathetic nervous system is under process, remember this, that whatever energy your body needs, maybe for digestion, whatever energy your body needs, maybe for keeping yourself happy, your good hormones active, that energy is now being transferred to manage the stress that you are dealing with. Okay. So now everything, the physical aspects of your body will also be affected, because your digestion will have, the digestion will go for a toss, because the energy that your body was giving for digestion now is being transferred to handling stress. Your sleep cycle will be also misregulated. Your happy hormones will also be dysregulated. So these will all have effects. Now, the other system, which we call the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the calming system, it helps your body to calm down. The parasympathetic nervous system does the opposite. So it's a body's natural brake system, right? It's a part that helps you to relax, recover, and feel grounded. Your breathing slows down, your body releases the tension, your heart rate drops, your mind becomes more clearer. So this particular phase is called the rest and digest mode. Now, if your body is constantly under stress, if your body is going through a prolonged period of stress, maybe for 6 months and 7 months, you are going through certain acculturative stress, the culture differences, you're not able to understand the language, you're not able to express yourselves, you're not able to open up to people around you, these all starts building up, and these all little by little starts getting you and making you feel more stressful and overwhelming, right? And so the body, the physical actions like digestion and everything else which is involved in keeping you healthy, the energy what is required by your body to keep you healthy is the body is not getting that, and it is being transmitted to the other section of your nervous system, which is dealing with the stress. So this will affect your digestion, this will affect your sleep, this will affect your mood, and in longer term, or maybe in longer duration, it can also have very serious effects in your body. So, on the other hand, the parasympathetic nervous system, which helps you in calming down and which helps you in releasing the tension, you need to activate that system. You need to switch off the sympathetic nervous system for some time and get back to calm your body and get back to release that tension. So, get back to rest and the digest mode. Okay, because your system needs balance. Your body system will only work when it is balanced. So neither of the system is bad. We also need the activation of sympathetic nervous system, because if you don't feel stressed, or if there is no tension in you, you will not study. So a little bit of tension is required, a little bit of that push through challenges is also required, because you need to also perform better, but not for a very prolonged period of time. And you need to switch back on to the parasympathetic nervous system to return to balance. So the issue is that most of us stay stuck in the stress system for very long, which we need to not do. So long deadlines, academic pressure, emotional overload. So this is what makes our body, go into that freeze mode. And even when there is no real danger, our body still suffers. So you need to understand your signals, you need to recognize your signals, and switch on the calming system by slowing down your breath, grounding yourself, taking mindful pauses, doing these mindful exercises, taking a stroll in the nature, getting out of the house and, getting some fresh air, or just stepping back for a moment. Okay. So this is, you need to understand that your sympathetic nervous system is just like the pedal of the bike, and your parasympathetic nervous system is like the brake. Now, the well-being is learned when to press which, when you have to put the pedal, or when exactly do you need to put the brake. Okay, so I think we should go for a short break now. I would say that you can go ahead, do a little bit of introspection about this, and please step away from your screens, stretch a little, hydrate, and maybe get some fresh air as well. This is your time to reset your mind and body, and we'll meet back here in maybe in 15, 20 minutes, Dr. Nilofer? Yes, in 20 minutes?
Great. Yeah, I think that now we need time to absorb whatever you explained to us and tell us. Thank you very much.
Okay, then we'll meet in 20 minutes and continue with the next part of our session.
Thank you.
Thank you, and see you soon.
Please do not leave the chat room and go for your break. I suggest it. Thank you.
And hello, everyone. Welcome back from the break. I hope you all are here still with me.
There are some who left the room, but I think that they will be back. You can start, they will join.
Yes.
Thank you.
So we will have a small self-reflective activity. Like, we talked a lot about self-awareness. We spoke about self-disclosure. We understood emotional regulation. We also talked about stress in general and well-being in general. So we will have a small self-reflective activity to understand how we feel. And yes, let's see. Let me create a small breakout room for everyone so that you kind of also communicate with each other and share your experiences with each other. Mm, okay. So okay, so I've created this rooms for you all. And I think you all have been moved to different rooms with your respective partners where you can speak to. And let me also share the Okay, Subuhi, Mahbub, you did not get placed in any room.
No, ma'am, I just
Would you
joined.
like to join?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I will also assign you in one of the rooms.
What do we have to do, ma'am?
So if you can check in the chat box, there are some reflective activities, some reflective questions that you can try on, discussing with your friends. Can open the chat box. Can you see the questions? Okay, she.
How much time do they have?
I think 10 minutes.
Okay. But one
Yeah.
other student is here.
Okay. So, Benjamin. Benjamin, are you back from the room? Okay, he's gone again. So they have the questions with them. There are certain questions which they can reflect on. Questions like write about a situation where you felt balanced or unbalanced, factors that
Very nice.
contributed, and with.
The course is very interesting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Nalok.
Good luck.
Okay, were you able to enjoy the time with others, speaking about those perspectives? Did you feel lighter? You were not alone. There are others as well who's going through the same feeling, emotions, right? Many a times sharing and openly talking about perspectives and emotions that we feel right now. So many a times just talking and discussing this with our friends can help us, making us feel that we are not alone who are going through these emotions. Okay. Would anyone like to try to share these three questions? You can write it in the chat box, or you can also unmute and speak. Yes. So, which any situation where you felt balanced or unbalanced? You can also write it in the chat box. Does not have to be complete elaborate description of the situation, but maybe a word or two that you feel describes the situation, like you felt stressed, or a situation which was about, which was new. You had never faced this situation, which was related to your academic, which might have been related to your personal life, which might have been related to your relationships. Coming here to Germany, a lot of feelings. Yes.
Is it okay if I speak?
Yes, of course, please.
For me, I've been trying to regulate my emotions when I'm conversing with people. And I recently had a conversation with a friend where I felt misunderstood. And because I'm working on how I respond and how maybe where I'm quick to getting angry or feeling misunderstood, I felt um, I felt very misunderstood, and it was an intense emotion. But because I knew what I was trying to do to control myself, I then became passive aggressive and had a wall up during the conversation, which was also not a good response. So the good thing is that I realized that I did not want to say any bad things, but the bad thing is that I still made the other person feel bad for something that they didn't intentionally do because it was just a misunderstanding. So I would want to work on regulating my emotions to do better and to not feel that it's wrong for me to feel misunderstood. It's still okay. And I don't have to prove myself all the time without also hearing the other person because they might have been going through the same thing as me. So it was both balanced and imbalanced.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing this. It was really, really, it was really intense, the emotions that you felt. But the good thing about is that you managed it, and how self-aware you were about your emotions. And at the same time, you worked, and you not just managed the emotions, but you also kind of, kind grew more in that emotions, how to get out of that emotions and how to use it for the best. So thank you for sharing. Yes, we have another Subuhi.
Yes, ma'am. Hello,
Yes.
everyone. The moment that I feel unbalanced mostly even today is, to be very honest, I have body dysmorphia. I don't like. I didn't like the way I looked, and if somebody ever commented on my weight or the way I look, so I used to flip out, and up till I think 6 months ago, I really hated the way I looked. So I used to have like binge eating disorders. I used to munch down my feelings, and I had this attitude that they are not to decide what my body looks, and I never focused. But after from the past 6 months, I'm learning to accept my body. I'm learning to love the way I am with all the scars and curves, and not care about what really people say because it's world and they will continue to speak about us. So I'm learning to shut those voices out. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much, Subuhi. I mean, uh, what I can say right now is we need more people like you. We need people to not just admire, understand themselves, but also to understand the world around them, right? And at the same time, changing that perspective, not only thinking that this is how I am, so this is, but at the same time understanding and accepting. When there is self acceptance, you start growing in a very different direction. Beautiful.
Exactly. I don't give anybody the right to speak about how I look, and they don't have the right to do so.
Absolutely. And you are beautiful the way you are.
Thank you so much.
Okay, do we have anyone else who would like to share any perspective about balance, unbalance that you feel like, and sometimes you want to share them, but at the same time you do not know when and how, what factors might have contributed to it, what can be changed or maintained? Some of the life stories that we hear of great leaders and peoples as to how they came out of those negative emotions and bounced back and fought that is very important. Not necessarily important, not necessarily maybe required at the moment, but gradually, slowly getting to that point. And that is why we will be understanding positive relationships and empathy. When again we talk about positive relationships and empathy, we talk about connection, building positive relationships with people. All of us, no matter our personality type, we have different personality type, right? Some of us are introverted, some of us are extroverts, some of us are a mixture of both the introverts and extroverts. Now, this personality type are shaped by the quality of our relationships, whether we are able to have clarity in our relationships, whether we are able to, maintain boundaries in our relationships, have comfort in our relationship, have that acceptance in our relationships, especially during stressful or uncertain times, right? Now, positive relationship don't just happen. You just don't start feeling and you just don't click with a person just like that, right? They grow. They grow through very small daily behaviors. Listening, being respectful, expressing appreciation for that person, acknowledging the small acts from that person, and communicating everything honestly. You remember we did that Johari window, right? The Johari window says that there's something called open, which is easily accessible to me and my partner. For example, if I talk about me and my husband, right? So if we talk about someone who knows me well, the Johari window, where the open section is, where the lot of information that I know and the lot of information that others know would also be bigger, which is called the ideal window pane, right? Where the open communication is bigger and there is very small space for blind, hidden, and the unknown panes, right? However, this comes gradually, this happens gradually because you spend so much time with that person, because you understand that person, because you know about that person, and at the same time listen and take feedback from that person. Okay, so empathy is, again, when we talk about this positive relationship, it just don't happen when they grow at a very small pace, by listening, being respectful to people. What is connection? This empathy that we are talking about, it's simply the ability to understand what people um, with someone else might be feeling or experiencing. One of you just told me about your experience, that you have started understanding others people emotions, and not just understanding and feeling bad about that person, but at the same time being in someone's shoe and trying to feel that emotion what the other person is feeling. So it is not about fixing others problem, it is being present with them, it is being living that emotion with that person. This is what empathy means. Empathy and sympathy is very different, right? You can sympathize with a person and you can maybe give some help, or if the person requires some aids, you can help them with that. But being empathizing with a person is completely different, because you try to understand and be with that person about that situation, in and about that situation. So when we practice empathy, we respond with more compassion rather than judgment. And this starts building trust in your relationship. Strong relationships and empathy are directly, supportive to our well-being. So they reduce stress, improve emotional stability, and help us feel connected, which is one of the strongest predictors of mental health. If you have a strong community, if you have a strong social support, you will always feel good about the mental health. Okay, so this is something that we would like to explore and strengthen our connections and become more empathetic in our day to day interaction. To understand how relationships shape our well being, it starts with attachment. Whether we are able to attach ourselves with people. There are a lot of theories which is given in child psychology and developmental psychology. One of the theories which really talks about human relationships, many theories talks about human relationship, but one that that talks about how attachment is built is something which we will be talking about. It explains how our early relationships, especially with caregivers, with our parents, with our mother, with our father, it influences the way we connect with people as adults. Whether we felt connected in our childhood with our parents or not, whether we were, given the adequate amount of love and care during that stage, is what builds up our power to connect with humans. If we have experienced inconsistency or emotional distance with our parents at a very early stage, we will struggle with building trust, and we will struggle with building that closeness in relationship with people later on as well. So attachment theory is one of the most important ideas that expresses, which talks about how attachment and how social connection in relationships is formed. So it explains how the emotional bond we form with our parents, usually parents, and our earliest caregivers. So when we were very young, in maybe in the first few years of our developmental stages, the way our parents respond to us creates an internal sense of safety. So these patterns teaches us that can I trust people when I felt scared or when I felt moved by the outside world. Was my parents available or were my caregivers available during that time, helps us in building the trust that we develop. Is the world safe? Will someone be there for me when I need them? So these are patterns that only develop, and you start questioning and responding and asking and understanding them later in their life. However, the the framework starts developing at a very early age. Even though we don't remember these early moments, maybe you would not remember what happened to me, or when I was 2 years old, or during that particular what happened, there was a certain situation which my family faced when I was 1 year old. You would not remember these early moments, but our body and brain starts learning from them. It kind of develops the framework already. This becomes our attachment style. This becomes an emotional template for our relationship. And then gradually it gets more and more stronger because of the environmental factors and the relationship that we see in all these years. So there are different types of attachment. There is something called secure attachment, which we feel very, where we feel very consistently loved. A child feels very consistently loved. The child feels soothed and understood by their parents. They also develop, these children develop secure attachment. So, what will be the behavioral pattern as they grow up, as they become adults? They will feel very comfortable in forming close relationships, right? This question mark as to whether the person will be able to accept me or not, will I be good, or will what will happen if I do something bad? These questions will not come generally. They will also communicate their needs clearly. The trust that will be formed will be more easy. They will be easily be able to form trust. They can also handle the conflict with very stable mind. So a secure attachment doesn't mean perfect parents. There is nothing called perfect parents. We all have some sort of demands, and the way in which we have been born and brought up in our families, and some, not all the demands are met. So it doesn't mean that you have the perfect parents, but it means whether they were, or whether the parents were present or good enough, and they were emotionally present parents, right? This is what develops a secure attachment in child, and later on in the adult life as well. Now, what happens if the caregivers or the parents were not emotionally present, right? So there are certain insecurities which starts developing in the child, and these insecurities can be anxious attachment, they can have avoidant attachment, or they can be disorganized attachment. Now, what is anxious attachment? So individual or adults who have had insecure attachment in their early childhood, they tend to think or overthink in relationships. They keep on seeking reassurances, and they have a feeling that they will be left out. FOMO, as Gen Z calls, right? Yeah, and or maybe not actually fitting the population. So these individuals worry about being abandoned or not being enough for the people around them. So this is anxious attachment. They are consistently and continuously living in some sort of an anxious world. Now, the second insecure attachment is avoidant attachment. Now, what happens in this particular attachment is that here the people starts to learn start to learn to depend on themselves, because early emotional needs were not met consistently, the parents were not available, and these children in the adult stage develop avoidant attachment because they know that no one or anyone who is the near and dear one will gradually go away, or it will the relationship will not be formed. So these people feel that they may appear independent, they will be very independent, but inside, deep down, they struggle with a lot of emotional closeness. They really want someone to understand them, but at the same time, they will they have learned this habit that they need to manage everything on their own, and they may appear very independent. The third insecure attachment is disorganized attachment, which is the most difficult one, and it creates a lot of personality distortion in adult life. So this usually develops when a caregiver is a source of comfort, but also fear. Okay. So as adults, these individuals may swing between wanting closeness and pulling away themselves. They will always be confused whether to actually form a close relationship with a loved one or to go away with it. So, because there's always this comfort and fear that in childhood that the person has lived with. Now, why attachment matters and well-being? Why is attachment so important to understand the well-being that we are talking about? Because attachment shapes everything: how we communicate, how we handle conflict, how we understand our emotions, whether we are open enough to ask for help, how we calm ourselves in stressful situations. So students with a secure attachment are generally, they are more resilient. They can emotionally fight back situations. They are also okay in asking for support when needed, and the friendship or the connections that they build are healthier. It does not come with a lot of emotional burden or emotional lock. But the important thing is, it does not mean that what you have gone in the childhood, the attachment styles that you have already formed, it cannot be changed. It can be changed, right? Our adult relationship, the therapy that we take, friendships that we form, connections that we make in our adulthood, and even when we are working on our own self growth, working on our own self awareness. This can help us grow a more secure attachment over time, because a sense of belonging is one of the strongest human needs. We are human beings. We are animals which work on a which loves to stay connected. We are built with this relationship and connection and attachment style. So our sense of belonging is one of the strongest human need. We need that connection. So when we feel like we fit somewhere, we feel happy, whether it's family, whether it's friends, whether it's community. We feel more stable and we feel more emotionally connected, right? It reduces stress. When we feel belonged, it reduces stress. It protects our mental health. Okay, can you hear me now? I think there was a connection issue. So belongingness reduces stress. It helps you in forming a good, sense of a well-being. And not only just that, if you have someone to talk to, if you have someone to rely on, it makes a huge difference. These difficult times makes a huge difference. um, it also doesn't mean that you always rely on your friends, peers, people, teachers, and your parents to fix your problems. It just it is just about having those group, having that connection, social support, where you can be seen, you can be heard, and you can be understood of the emotions that you're going through. It does not have to come with, the solution, but at least where you can be seen or heard. That is why a strong attachment, belonging, and support system is very important. Okay. Um, I again put you in small breakout rooms. I would like you all to talk about, you have to discuss as to what do you feel like, you can share a recent challenge that you faced, and the others can listen, and then they can reflect what they heard. So it kind of builds your empathy cycle, or you can say that a circle wherein you are also heard, and at the same time you also understand the power of hearing. So you are able to share your problems, and at the same time the other people are also able to understand you and then reflect what they heard. So the discussion question can be, how did it feel to be listened to? We will be talking about this after the breakout sessions are over. So are you ready? So to go into the breakout room again, for this will be a 2-minute task. So you will have to talk about a recent challenge that you faced in academics or in general, your life in Berlin and around. And the others can listen and then they can reflect what they heard. Okay. Let me assign. Is the question clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Hi, Adrian. So we are working on a small breakout task wherein there are some perspectives that we are sharing about the empathy circle. So I will put you in one of the rooms and you can follow the announcement there.
Perfect. Thank you, ma'am. Will do.
Dr. Sushma, would you please send the student back to the breakout room?
Okay. Yeah. Hi, Sakiba. So, let me send you to the breakout room. We are discussing about some empathy cycle, and I will assign you to one of the rooms to discuss this with your um, friends and colleagues. So welcome back. I hope you had a good discussion and you could reflect on the students sharing the recent challenge. Was it too overwhelming, or were you able to share it? How did it feel? Can we discuss these questions? How did it feel to be listened to? Were you able to express? If not express, at least come up to a certain, definition of your feeling right now, which you could somehow explain to the others? Did you think it is required? You can send in your answers. Yes. So, Buhi, you would like to say something, please?
Yeah, ma'am. The challenge that I am facing right now, I mean, nobody had really warned me or advised me about it, was, moving abroad away from your hometown. It is a new experience in itself. You get to grow in a different environment, but nobody had warned me about the loneliness that comes with it. So that is something I am challenging. It's very challenging right now, and I'm facing that at the moment. Everybody is new, and you don't know anybody over here. And when you are in public and your social anxiety really hits, and you can't really communicate with anyone in person. So that is something that I am facing right now. The loneliness, to be honest.
Okay, you can see that how when you start talking about the challenges, you also become aware, right? You also become aware about what you're feeling right now. So it's just not, you are not anymore trying to just understand why you're feeling it, but you're also questioning yourself as to, what you can do about it. Of course, yes, acculturative stress, cultural, trying to adapt to a culture, to different weather, to different language is very overwhelming, and it can have a lot of negative effects on emotions, well-being, as to how you feel and connect with your partners as well. Thank you very much for sharing. And if you can see that when we talk about maintaining when we talk about empathy, when we talk about creating a safe space, many of us feel lonely. Many of us do not have that social connection where we can build and rely and make ourselves understood through someone. So, but at the same time, when we're talking about empathy and building connections, we should also know that maintaining healthy boundaries is also very important. If you maintain healthy boundaries, you are also able to protect your mental space, right? They allow us to support others without absorbing your emotions a lot. Sometimes what happens is that we become, we are so much in connection with others. We are so much in connection with the emotions that others face that we stop caring for ourselves. That healthy boundary is very important. And the healthy boundary means I can care for you, but I cannot carry everything for you. Okay, you have to carry your own load, and I can come and help you in carrying your load to some extent. So, you have to balance this empathy with self care, which is the most important aspect of understanding well-being and building well-being. So empathy is the strength, no doubt. If you are empathizing with others, if you are building a good social connection with others, if you have good social support, but if it's without self-care, it becomes exhaustion, right? So balancing this empathy, so you can see, if you can say that when you balance empathy, you are present for others while you still honor your own needs. You say that it's okay to say that, I'm here for you, but I need a moment to recharge. We all come with an emotional bucket, and we need to understand this emotional bucket. When the emotional bucket is full, I will not be able to help others. I will not be able to give them maybe, the correct suggestion or support that is required by the others at that time. So we also need to understand that we also need to recharge. You can be available to everyone, but not at the cost of your own mental health. So you have to recognize this sign of emotional burnout. when we start giving too much without, protecting our own peace, that is the stage we hit emotional burnout. And when we hit emotional burnout, we definitely, it affects our mental well-being and physical, social, and psychological well-being as well. So you will notice it through things like this. Like we talked about sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. Everything psychological is biological. Everything biological is psychological, right? So you will notice it through things like constant fatigue, irritability, emotional numbness. You will also be feeling, you will start feeling very overwhelmed with very small tasks. So this all comes with emotional burnout. So, and this burnout is your mind's way of saying that you're doing too much, you are involved in a lot of things, you need time to rest. Okay. Um, Okay, let's do a small activity. You can come up with, with certain words. You can put it in your chat box as well. Um, Draw two sections. If you have a sheet, good. Otherwise, you can also open a notepad or something in your desktop or any other in your phone. So draw two columns wherein the first column talks about what's mine, everything that's mine. And the other column talks about what's not mine. Okay. So what's mine? I can say that my peace. I would also say that, certain aspects of my work, certain aspects of my personal belongings. So what's mine and what is not mine? So I can say that others' opinion towards me, or maybe the way others perceive me is not mine. So you have to segregate certain emotional boundaries based on this. What's mine and what's not mine. Okay, so think of a recent situation, or maybe you can think of something that has happened in the past weeks where you felt emotionally drained and was so overwhelmed by someone else's expectation. Maybe, your caregivers, your parents, or your friends wanted you to be available during something that was happening in his or her life. But it was that person's expectation. So you felt very emotionally drained and overwhelmed by someone else's expectations, someone else's emotions and behavior. You don't have to share it. You just have to bring it to the moment, to your mind right now. A recent situation where you felt emotionally drained. Now, ask yourself two simple questions. Which part of the current situation that you brought to your mind that has happened, which part of this situation was my responsibility? Second question you need to ask is, what part of the situation was not my responsibility? Okay, so which part of the situation, the first column that you created where you talked about what's mine, is trying to bring out certain aspects of the situation which was your responsibility, and certain part of the situation which was not your responsibility. I'll give you 2 minutes to think about it, reflect on this task, and try to put in, to try to ask yourself these two simple questions of which part of the situation was my responsibility and which part of the situation was not my responsibility. Okay, so if you feel comfortable, you can share it in the chat box. Uh, One thing that you realize that was not your responsibility. Okay, it was not your responsibility. You do not have to give me the detail, but maybe just one phrase or one word, like, that their expectations or their mood, their reaction, their judgment was not my responsibility. So just put in those words in the chat box about the current situation which you could remember, which was not your responsibility. Okay. I would like to um, hear more. Keep on, please. Okay. Very good. So I'm trying to figure out whether um, others will accept certain set of behaviors or not. Fear about social acceptance, right? Yes, that definitely is a lot of creates a lot of anxiety and can be very overwhelming. What else do you think is not your responsibility in these situations that you can think of? Their expectations, yeah. Okay, yes. Great. So now we understand that healthy boundaries begin when we learn to separate what is ours, what is my responsibility from what is not my responsibility. The small awareness can help you prevent a lot of quick decisions, emotional burnout. So whenever something happens, or whenever there is a situation which creates a tension in you, always try to put into these two small fragments. What is my responsibility? What can I do in this situation? What is not in my hands? What is not my problem? So always try to segregate it, and then you will see that the small awareness will help you with a lot of different aspects, creating a more better well-being for yourself. Moving to the last part of our conversation, wherein we try to create a more balanced life and we try to sustain this well being. We have talked about a lot of things. We have talked about well being, we have talked about self awareness, we have talked about emotional awareness, we have talked about stress and how we can understand stress and get better well being. We have also talked about the Johari window, about different models. But how understanding and knowing all these principles will not create or help us in any way when we do not build a balanced life and sustain this well-being. So we have to slowly, gradually create a well-being pattern for ourselves. Now we have already, as we have especially entered the early winters, the winters, this time of the year affects us more than we realize. The days get shorter, the sunlight decreases, our sleep pattern also shifts, right? And you will see that there is a lot of shift in your emotional well-being as well. Your motivation to do things as well can dip down, right? Psychologists call it a seasonal influence. Our mind and body respond to changes in light, temperature, and routine. And especially if we are coming from a very hot climate, when we are used to seeing the sun all day long. And when we move to a different part of the world where we do not get the same amount of sunlight, and it changes a lot of, there's a lot of emotional void as well, which is created. Okay, so sustaining well-being in winter also means to learn to work with the season. You have to also have to understand the fact that you have to navigate yourself through this and not against it by not showing up, or by creating a small bubble for yourself because it's winters, I would like to hibernate. Okay, this will have an alternate effect on your well-being. So seasonal harmony is what I mean to say. This is what you need to create. So seasonal harmony is simply tuning your lifestyle to the rhythm of the season. Okay, so if you have early, if the sun rises late and sets early, you have to also kind of build your routine according to the rhythm of the season. So in early winter, your bodies will naturally ask you for more rest. Um, for more slower mornings, right? For maybe just lying down in your bed for a little longer time, and more gentle and more easygoing routines. So here, instead of pushing yourself harder and, maybe just trying to achieve everything and creating a whole lot of stressful rhythm for you, it's about creating balance. Here you need to connect, make more warmer connections, make more mindful routines. Okay, so wherein you give due time to your personal well-being, to your professional well-being, to academics, and at the same time to building connections and social life, and have realistic expectations. Do not set too big a target that you would not be able to achieve, right? So there are certain simple practices that you can that will help you during this time. It helps me a lot as well. Obviously, light exposure, right? Maybe at least spending few minutes, few hours outside, going outside, it can help you boost your mood and regulate your body clock, right? Your body goes through a circadian rhythm. If you will always be connected to your devices, your body will learn that pattern, and it will always start working and processing on that particular aspect. So, for your body to understand that this is what the environment around you, you need to show your body and your mind to regulate in that environment. For that, you need to connect with the environment. And the routine that you follow should it can be more comforting, right? You can start preparing more lighter, warm meals. Maybe you can start making some cozy spaces for yourself where you can study, read books, or maybe you can spend time with your loved ones. And there can be certain predictable habits which will help you giving more emotional stability, right? Maybe personal hygiene, or maybe creating a self hygiene plan, and connection and reflection as well. So checking in with yourself and staying connected with others helps you in protecting you from feeling isolated, right? Feeling lonely. Because as the season changes, it also affects your mood. It also affects the hormones, right? So you need to also make sure that you have to build more connection to protect you from feeling isolated. Okay, now why we are discussing this? Do you think well-being is only about managing stress and emotions? No, right? Well-being is about understanding how you understand your environment, how you cope up with that environment, how you also take care of yourself in the season, in the winters, in the summers, autumn, and understanding and managing your body to the natural rhythm which will affect you. Winters can drain your energy, but the right habits can also become a season of calm. It can help you in giving you reflect. Start writing, okay? If you can develop some habits like writing or creating or being in more creative spaces, it can really help you in gaining more reflection towards yourself. And emotional balance. So when we talk about what emotional balance is, we can definitely say that real balance is about when you align your life with your values, with your set of beliefs. We have priorities, right? We have some priorities. So when we balance um, it according to our priority, it will look different for everyone. So it does not mean that your lifestyle, the way in which you balance, needs to match with someone. Instead of chasing the perfect environment, the perfect time management, we should focus on more meaningful alignment. It's okay, Monday was difficult. Monday I had problems in getting up and coming to the class on time. Why not maybe manage it by understanding the syllabus which was covered, and maybe reading more about it, and maybe developing more healthier habits for the next day. So you need to develop certain dimensions of balance, like you need to rest appropriately, energy, your body needs to uh, feel, you need to be kind towards yourself. So you're feeling and how you treat yourself with kindness. It also includes staying connected with people. social support and belonging, your productivity and purpose. This is not just about being busy. So you just go home, clean your home and finish cooking and then hit the bed. Okay. It's not just about being productive, and there's a difference between productivity and purpose. So being busy is not what you need to seek. It's about feeling that your effort has some purpose. When you cook for yourself, make sure that you cook for yourself in a very happy mood. Engage in something that you would like to feed yourself with. So when your work aligns with what you value, motivation also feels natural. You can also spiritual and reflective. You can also engage in more inner peace and more reflective ways of celebrating life. You can start making very small, consistent change. Remember, it's about consistency and it's not about intensity. You can start building habits gradually. 1%, even 1% change would matter. And you need to take care of your well being. Now, creating a plan or a well being plan for yourself. Now, we can say that, let's make it more practical and say that everything that we discussed today is only useful when it turns into action. Very small action, does not have to be big. You cannot create everything in one day. So we are going to take a very simple personal well-being plan that you can actually use in real life. Okay, so take 30 seconds or maybe a minute and quietly think about engage in this thought process and think about one thing in your life that needs more attention. Okay, it might be your sleep, it might be relationship with your boss, with your loved ones, it might be boundaries that you want to create with your parents, caregivers, or with friends, or with colleagues. The study habits that you engage in, are you are able to give that the due amount of time which is required for you to understand what you are here for? Are you able to give time to study and learn and engage in these habits? Or it can be emotional balance. Which particular thing in your life needs more attention? Just one thing. You can also, if you're comfortable, you can also write one word in the chat. What comes to your mind? What is more that needs more attention? Anything that comes to your mind that needs attention, sleep, um, or maybe many of you already described, friends, social connections, because you feel lonely, improving connections, improving sleep habits. Okay, I want you to at least keep it to yourself for now, if you don't want to disclose something which is really personal. And if you would like to think about the questions which you can see in the presentation, the top 3 priorities for the next month, which particular things do you think is most essential in the next 3 months' time? Is it your degree? Is it your language? Presence of mind. Thank you. Yes. So the next 3 priorities, the 3 priorities for the next month are, you can start with 1 month and then we move to 3-month plan and 6-month plan. So it can start with your top 3 priorities for the next month. You can write it for yourself. Now we move to the second, language, fitness, dental health. Yes. So it's very clear, right? For the next month, we have these top 3 priorities. Now, what are the habits I will maintain? You have to think about something that you really feel nice about, I that helped you in building connection, that helped you in coping up with your stress. So which particular habits that you think you have and it has helped you in the past and that you would want to maintain that habit? You can write about that. Journaling. Wow. Okay, moving to the third, the support system. What are the support system you can really think of? When we talk about support system, it is not about counting the number of followers and counting the number of friends in social media. Okay, when we talk about support system, how many people can you trust and rely on? What are your support systems right now? Okay. Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. So now the boundaries that you will protect, like someone with whom you would like to protect your self-esteem, self-worth, self-image. It can be anything related to any relationship that you hold. Okay. So which are the boundaries you would like to protect? Which are the boundaries you would not want the person to cross? Okay. So you can also think about that you would like to protect. So, what is very good? Yes. So, what is one boundary you need to set to protect your energy? Or maybe you can also think about, you're not replying to the messages instantly, um, or maybe learning to say no to extra commitments, or when you're already overwhelmed. Okay, yes, the boundary when I need some time space alone or taking breaks without guilt. Yes, autonomy, ability to make my own decisions. Absolutely. Very interesting. Yes. Okay, moving to the fifth question. My daily self check questions, not ending up being guilty. Absolutely. So, did I honor my balance today? Was I you can ask the simple question which can help you to stay accountable without pressure. It brings awareness and not judgment. So were you able to balance that? Were you able to understand, were you able to honor your balance, that if there was something which you were not accountable, and you could say that without pressure? Okay, so we can say that we are still understanding and learning to create this, right? We are still understanding and learning to create that balance between our self well-being and how we can understand the relationships, honoring our balance as well. So now, if you really want to develop and you really want to make sure that well-being is a part of your day-to-day life, come up with these small questions. It can be like this, like we just did, right? It can be a very small activity. It does not need any therapist, or it does not need a session wherein you are engaged in introspection and requiring psychotherapy. It can start with a very small initiative that can come from yourself, where you develop your own personal well-being. So you need to come up with the priorities, your top 3 priorities for the next month. When the top 3 priorities are clear, start working on those top 3 priorities, and then gradually try to achieve those priority, not with perfection, but maintaining your habits with your support system and the boundaries that you have created for yourself. Now, the top 3 priorities and next month plan is clear, then you can look at the bigger picture. Then you can come back and talk about what you want to achieve, or what are the 3 priorities that you would like to achieve in the next 6 months. Maybe getting a job, right? Or creating a nice CV for yourself, or maybe exploring the German market more so that you get more experience, right? Or getting more experience in diploma in this particular industry. So you need to assign those priorities and also need to set realistic goals. Okay, understanding what exactly will be better for you and understanding what exactly would work for you. And then you have to work on or discuss about the habits that you would like to maintain or the habits that you would like to change. Support system, it's very important to keep a connection with your support system. So whoever is the support system, always try to empathize and at the same time be emotionally more aware. Do not pass on your burden to the support system, but let your support system be there with you so that they can listen to you and connect with you in a better way. The boundaries is very important for you to maintain those boundaries, because it helps you to create certain aspects of your mental peace as well. So you need to protect them. You need to set to protect your energy. You need that particular set. And your when you keep your personal well-being plan running, it will honor your balance very much. So you have to keep on very smart goals which helps you in improving your well-being, and you have to track these progress through the reflection journals. One of you said that you have this habit of journaling. It's a very good habit, wherein you always try to put in something in a journal and then reflect back on it. One tip I would like to give you is, whenever you are writing about the negative emotions or journaling about the negative emotions, always write about it. If it's a frustration, if it's an anger that you really want to express and you think that journaling would help you in calming down in that situation, but do not never go back and start exploring more about that particular emotion which you felt in the past. It helps me process emotions that I can't speak up. Absolutely, yes. And many times it also brings clarity between the mind and your actions. Journaling has provided a lot of clarity, right? Because it now your sensations, the sensory organs can also feel and see what exactly you're feeling. Here, the famous psychologist with whom I am standing here with is Walter Mischel, and he once said that the ability to delay gratification and resist temptation is a master skill, right? It's a master skill in different aspects, a core capacity for self-control that enables us to manage impulses and achieve long-term goals. So if you are resisting certain gratification which you think might not be good for your mental well-being, you have to resist those temptation. If you think that if you are always acting and reacting in a very emotional way, so you need to delay that emotional reaction. You have to master the skill and become more and more, and you have to self control that enables us to manage impulses, and it will help you in the managing your longer term goals. Okay, so with this, I would like to say that we have almost covered all the topics today. Your well-being plan obviously doesn't need to be perfect, right? It can just be honest. You can share it with me. Those who shared it with me, thank you so much. This explored and this opened up a very nice discussion with very amazing students, very engaging students. Thank you so much for your honest responses. And these small commitments and consistent commitments that you make will help you build resilience, and it will help you in achieving that balance over time. And before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one last reminder that please do not try to fix your entire life tonight or in one day, right? Start with very tiny things like maybe drinking water, yes, or actually like sleeping before 2 a.m., right? Stop spending too much time on the screen. And remember, right, taking care of your mental health doesn't make you weak. Taking care or being sensitive does not mean you are too sensitive, or does not mean you are weak. It just makes you a human being who reads instructions, who follows the body's signs, who understands the emotions that's there in you. Okay, even your phone says low battery, right? So but we as humans, we, even when we are completely drained and completely burned out for 3 weeks, we would still try to work, right? So be kinder to yourself, recharge whenever you need. And if life feels overwhelming, just breathe, pause, do some mindful exercises, start small goals, and remember that you are doing the best you can, right? This is the best that was there within your potential, and you are doing that. So thank you so much for all your time, your energy, and for your willingness to reflect on these topics today. Um, take care of yourselves, and have a very wonderful day. These are the key takeaways that I would like to just show it to you all. And have a nice time, and take care of your mental health.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sushma, for this effective and very professional session that you have provided. The topic that was very interesting, and the way you arranged this session was also very professional. Thank you very much. I would like to thank the audience for participation in this event, and I hope that we receive your feedback via email. That you can find my email at BSBI, I mean Outlook email, and send me your feedback, and we will consider your proposals or suggestions for the next short courses that you will participate. Thank you very much. I would like also to thank our production team for the effective support, and also IT team that the team members were beside us. Thanks to Sohail, thanks to Claudio and Anna, our lovely production team. And also I would like to thank Professor Kyriakos for designing and also running this course that is very effective at the GGG level. Thank you very much. I wish you a wonderful afternoon. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.